Welcome to Terrawagen. This is how to install your interior tidy trim kit. This is the front kit. Comes with all 7 pieces as shown. This is the window frame. Here's the window frame being installed into the B-pillar. Make sure that you slide the flange in behind the B-pillar. That's how it fits. Check your gaps. The curve should follow the curve. We use tape just to hold it in place while we do our test fitting. I recommend that you do the same. Just holds the part in place so that you can test fit all the pieces. Once your window frame's installed, you can go to your next piece, which is the headliner void. This is the left-hand side headliner void, or driver side. It goes right here. Slide the flange into the headliner and push down until this corner reaches the window frame. Follow your finger up to the top and you can see that the gap is perfect. It's got some flex to it, so don't be afraid to flex it a little bit. It should be at 90 degrees when you put your wall panel in. I'm just pointing out that that is the way that it fits. A self-tapping screw would go in this location where my thumb is. And up at the top, you would use another screw into your wall panel fitting up to this point. And you can see the little bit of flex that's right there. So just use a fastener of your choice to attach this part to your wall panel. Moving on to the passenger side headliner void part. This is the correct orientation, the long section going down. And here's how you put it in. Pull the rubber seal back that goes around the slider door and insert the part into the B-pillar. It's going to take a little bit of force to push it down, but just push it down. Your gap should be 0. Your rubber seal should lay flat onto the part, just like it does on the B-pillar. And then this little piece here, you need to make sure that it meets the edge of the inner seal. And we do that by using a piece of rubber foam that's included in the kit. This is the slider door upper part, and this is the hardware that comes in the kit. 2 of these extension studs. First one goes here, just screw it on. The second one goes all the way down to the back, right next to this little stud that pokes through. All of these screws are for the upper slider track rail, and we're just piggybacking onto the 3 threads that are remaining on these studs. So we're going to take our foam blocks, and you're going to place a foam block under where the first stud is. You can see that the panel is lower at that point. Your second foam block will go under the other stud, where you can see that it is lower there also. And the third one, just place it somewhere in the center. The reason for the foam block is it helps the lower edge of that trim piece to sit closer to the edge of the rubber seal. So to get this part in, you have to displace the seal with your finger. So you'll see how I do it right here. I start on one edge and I run my finger down as I'm pressing the seal into place. You want to make sure that the part is underneath the foam blocks as you push down. And when you do that, you'll notice that the screw holes will line up on your little mini studs. Yeah, you can screw in your first hardware. We're using studs just for test fitting, but you would use your hardware to attach it. Just placing a stud in the threaded hole just to hold the part in place for test fitting. So you can see that I'm pushing down on the upper part. I'm making sure that the rubber lays flat. I'm checking all my gaps. I'm making sure that the rubber seal is laying flat. And there it is. This is the actual hardware, and this is an M5 Allen. So you can remove the studs and put the M5 Allens in place. This is how you would normally do it. And that's the finish hardware. So your gap should be really good on that side, and then we're taking the stud out on this side to put the hardware in. And I'm having trouble. So here's the final screw. Once the screw's in place, you just make sure, run your finger down the rubber. It's gonna lay flat. Your gap should be 0. Once you cover all of these parts in fabric, your gaps will be nice and tight. So just notice how the rubber seal sits up against the part and how it lays flat. That's ideal. That's what you're after. So we're on to the next part. This is the top right door entry part. This part puzzle pieces into the last part that you just test fit, and it follows the curve on the inside of the rubber. So once you place the part inside, kind of help guide the part into the rubber seal and push the part firmly into place so that the gap up at the top is super minimal and the rubber seal lays flat all the way down. And you can see the seal and the fit of this part is really tight. On this flange, you're going to add your fastening hardware, your self-tapping screws, and here's where you would place your wall up against the flange. Here is the next part that you're going to fit. This is the bottom section from the floor up, and this is where it goes, right here. So you're going to take your part just like your top part, and in our case we've got a smart floor installed, but you can ignore that. Here's the final piece of the puzzle. This is the middle part. And we do the middle part because it interlocks into the top and overlaps the bottom. So just in case you're wondering, same drill. You're gonna pull your rubber back with your finger, work the rubber until the part sits up against the inner flange of that rubber seal and that the parts overlap. So you can see I'm working the rubber seal so that it lays flat against the part. The part actually just stays there through the tension of the rubber. But to fasten the part, you would use your self-tapping screws along the wall flange, just to show you how close you're, about 5 millimeters away from the edge of the part. And this gives you enough space to add your favorite fabric to cover the parts. I'm showing that the gap is really tight, and you can always sand these gaps back a little bit if you need more space for fabric. We suggest a little bit of sanding and rounding of the edges, just like I'm pointing out. Just roll the edge, sand it a little bit, and you'll get a nice rolled edge for your fabric so that when your two fabric pieces meet, you'll have a nice joint. This is just to show you how the headliner would fit. We're using a piece of cardboard just to kind of mimic where the headliner would rest. The headliner rests above this part and would butt up against the front headliner, the factory front headliner. So this is just illustrating on how that would fit. This is a short overview of all the pieces in place in their final resting location. You can see that the rubber lays flat, the parts mate easily together, all the gaps are tight. Again, the tape is used to just hold the fixture or the part in place. And this is your parting shot. Nice shot of the ceiling. And Tim playing on the forklift. And that's the Tidy Trim Kit, folks. You can contact us if you have any questions or if you have any problems. You can reach us at info@terrawagen.com.